Hi and welcome to Happy Kitty Kitchen. In our last video we showed you how to make a homemade tomato sauce for pizzas, pastas and soups. So for today it's only right to show you how to make a delicious homemade pizza using that sauce. Detailed ingredients are at the end of the video and in the description box as well. Because I'm using active dried yeast and not instant yeast, I'll have to activate it by putting it in lukewarm water, about 2 cups of water, and then add in some sugar from the recipe and let it sit until it froths or creates bubbles on top. I forgot to add in the sugar obviously, but that's okay, it still turned out well for me anyway. But don't make my mistake and add the sugar in with the yeast for it to properly activate and for you to get a better pizza dough than mine. In the mixing bowl, add in the flour, salt and sugar and mix. Then add the vinegar and oil, and if you don't have vinegar you can skip it, but it does enhance the texture of the dough. Lastly, add in the water and yeast mixture, pop it into the mixer and mix away. It will take about 2 to 3 minutes of mixing, and you may have to scrape down the bowl just to make sure everything is properly incorporated several times. I did add about half a cup of flour more just because it seemed a bit too runny, and you can do the same, so always keep some flour around you in this step, but be careful not to dump it all in at once. Always do it gradually and observe the texture before adding more. The final texture should be stretchy and slightly sticky, but in my case mine was a bit too sticky and we decided to knead it a bit more by hand with a bit of a tablespoon of flour so that it firms up, and then we covered it with olive oil and put it in a bowl, and we covered it with a cloth and then put it somewhere warm so that the dough can rise in peace. After 2 hours and a half, my dough didn't rise that much, and that could be due to the fact that I didn't add sugar in the yeast in the beginning, but anyway, I go ahead and start working with it anyway because I got hungry and I had no patience left. I start by breaking off a smaller, palm-sized ball from the main dough. Remember to cover up the rest of the dough that you're not using just so that it doesn't dry up. At this point, the dough is quite squishy but firm and has some good elasticity and stretchiness qualities to it. Please note that I'm not an expert on pizzas and I'm learning as I go on how to knead and flatten and form the crust. All I can say is the more that you practice, the easier it'll get, and I think I did a pretty good job on shaping the crust, don't you think? When you think you're done shaping, poke some holes with a fork in the crust and pop it into an extremely hot oven to pre-bake the crusts. I bake them for about 2 to 4 minutes, or just until I see it rise up and darken and dry just a little. Then I'm taking the crust back out so I can start to assemble my pizza. I start out with a nice thin layer of my rich homemade pizza sauce, and then I put on some shredded mozzarella, some fresh mozzarella, some camembert cheese, and some more shredded mozzarella because it's never too much. And then we pop it back into the oven. With the remaining dough, I also made the vegetarian pizza with some red cheddar cheese and mozzarella cheese and a medley of vegetables. It takes around 5 minutes to bake in the oven, but everyone's oven is different, and all I can advise is that you keep an eye on your pizza to know when it's done. This recipe makes enough dough for 3 medium-sized pizzas, and the dough is nice and crispy as you can see. And trust me, they tasted as good as they looked. So, thank you for making it this far in the video and for watching Happy Kitty Kitchen. Hope you have a great day. Bye!